Tonight on Wine News, Malacanang wants Chinese ambassador to the Philippines Zhao Jinhua to explain the unauthorized passage of Chinese warships in Sibutu Strait in Tawi-Tawi, which the Philippine government considers as offending. House passes on second reading a bill that seeks to increase excise tax rates on liquor and heated tobacco and vapor products. Residents and fishermen protest the construction of the new Manila International Airport in Bulacan. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno launches a free Wi-Fi, calls and charging station at the historical Andres Bonifacio Monument. And a police official shares his corn harvest to residents of a relocation site in Laguna. Good evening. Malacanang doesn't like the report on Chinese warships sailing along the Sibutu Strait in Tawi-Tawi. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
The Philippine government wants Chinese ambassador to the Philippines Zhao Jinhua to explain the unannounced sailing of Chinese warships within our territorial waters.
Violation ng conclusion kung dumaraan sa ating EEZ. I'm sure the DFA secretary will do something about that.
The military does not regard this as innocent passage within our seas because of the ship's movements. They even turned off their automatic identification system or AIS. Secretary Panelo said he will raise the issue when he meets with Chinese ambassador to the Philippines Zhao Jinhua.
Then we will call their attention. The Chinese ambassadors invited me for dinner one of these days, and maybe I will raise that to him.
President Rodrigo Duterte is scheduled to visit China this month, and the palace says the chief executive will be firm in his position to raise the arbitral ruling during his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, though China does not recognize the decision.
The president said, "Nobody can control my words to our people. This is my duty as president." So when he addresses the Filipino people, nobody can stop him kung ano sasabihin niya.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The House of Representatives passes on the second reading a bill that seeks to impose higher taxes on liquor and tobacco products. If the bill is signed into law, the government can generate more revenue to fund the universal health care program, though it is seen to be not enough. Grace Cassin explains why.
If the substitute Bill 1206 or the Act amending National Code of 1997 gets enacted into law, the government will impose additional 15 to 55 ad valorem tax on liquor products in the country, plus specific tax of 30 to 696 pesos. And an additional 2 to 7% specific tax increase yearly. The amount of tax will depend on the alcohol content of the product.
If you're aged 20 to 30, most likely 4 times higher ang namamatay dahil sa pag-iinom.
Starting next year, taxes on heated tobacco products will be 45 pesos per pack, plus 50 to 60 pesos specific tax from 2021 to 2023. While all vapor products will have an additional tax of 30 pesos per milliliter and 35 to 45 pesos specific tax from 2022 to 2023. With this proposed bill, the government can generate 17 billion pesos, adding the 15 billion peso fund from tobacco products under the law enacted under the 17th Congress. To sum it up, the government can collect up to 32 billion pesos in 2020 alone. But according to Finance USEC Carl Chua, the 32 billion pesos is far from the government's 63 billion peso target to fund the universal healthcare program. The agency plans to ask senators to impose higher taxes on alcohol and tobacco products for them to meet the target revenue.
Well, the consequence of not raising it is that may mga hindi makakatanggap ng benepisyo immediately kasi baka may delay. Or lahat po ay hindi makakatanggap ng 100%, baka 90% lamang ng mga pinangako ng universal healthcare. So those are the options. Kaya pagpunta namin sa Senate, we will present the options and what will happen if we do not raise it further.
Grace Cassin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The completion of some major projects under the government's Build program are seen to solve the daily traffic woes on EDSA. Joan Nano tells us why.
The number of vehicles in Metro Manila continues to increase day by day. This, according to the MMDA, is the root cause of the worsening traffic situation. Over 400,000 vehicles use EDSA daily, according to the agency. But the original design capacity of EDSA is only for about 260,000 vehicles.
Volume talaga ang problema natin. I mean, hindi naman ito ganito nung summer na walang pasok. Hindi rin naman ganito to nung hindi tag-ulan. So, we will just be managing as it is kasi wala naman talaga kaming bagong polisiya.
In a bid to reduce traffic woes, the government has underway the construction of some major road projects to provide alternative routes for motorists. These include the Metro Manila Skyway Stage 3 project, NLEX-SLEX Connector, and the C5 South-Link Expressway. Once the NLEX-SLEX Connector is open 2 years from now, most vehicles will be diverted from EDSA. This road will serve as an alternate route for those going to Manila, Caloocan, Malabon, Navotas, and Valenzuela City. The opening of C5 South-Link project is also somehow seen to help decongest EDSA. This is another route for those whose destination is the southern portion of Metro Manila once it's completed in the fourth quarter of next year.
Well, it will increase the length of our road networks. Alam naman natin kulang na kulang tayo. I think we're lacking 3,000 kilometers of road network. So yun ang iniisip namin na makakabawas kami ng mga siguro minimum of 100,000. And if that happens, that's almost 1/4 of the volume that we have. Malaking bagay yun. Kung 1/4 yan is almost 2 lanes ang ma-free up natin. That's a big advantage for us.
Based on the MMDA's estimates, around 100,000 vehicles will be diverted from EDSA once these projects are open to motorists. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Some residents and fishermen choose their livelihood over the construction of the Bulacan International Airport. Leslie Widem will tell us why.
Some fishermen in Bulacan are against the construction of the 740 billion peso Bulacan Airport project. They call on the Department of Environment and Natural Resources to revoke the Environmental Compliance Certificate or ECC issued for the project. Just like Chody Bacon, who has been living in Barangay Sitio Taliplip for 40 years, he says he depends on the bounty of the sea for his livelihood.
Sabi nila, ang balita meron na pabahay. Tinatanong naman namin kung saan lugar, wala naman silang masabi. Ibig sabihin, ang gusto nila, palayasin lang kami sa lugar namin.
According to DNR Region 3, they have signed only the land development project and not the certificate. The Environment Management Bureau issues the ECC and not the DNR Regional Office.
Pag sinasabi natin kabuhayan na ang naapektuhan, siyempre, nakakapag-empathize tayo sa kanila, no? Pero babalansahin din natin dahil siyempre may batas din na nakakasakop dito.
DNR Region 3 will report the plea of the residents and fisher folks to the central office. Leslie Widem, UNTV News and Rescue, Pampanga.
More and more people will visit Liwasang Bonifacio not just for its renewed beauty, but also for free Wi-Fi connection. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
Internet connectivity has become almost a necessity nowadays. In New York, kiosks that provide internet connection with mobile communication device charger were installed around Manhattan. Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno has adopted the innovation as the city launched a similar facility at the Liwasang Bonifacio last night.
So you can make internet connection or connectivity for free because of the Wi-Fi capabilities of the machine too, and you can make landline calls for free.
The 24/7 kiosk can let up to 100 devices connect simultaneously. One can have internet connection for 30 minutes when in the kiosk.
Magandang innovation po yan kasi for the first time meron po tayo mga CCTV, so ma-ensure po natin na safe po dito sa park na to. Tapos meron din pong pang emergency call kung sakaling wala po kayo makontak
yung disconnect po, yung wifi, tingin ko malaking tulong siya para sa mga tao dito na tatambay or mga may kailangan, lalo mga busy people yung dito nasa U-Belt.
This project was made possible in Manila through the help of private sectors and the city's local government unit. The city mayor plans to have more disconnect facilities soon as developments continue in the city. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Residents in a relocation site in Laguna admire and salute a police official for his good deed. Sherwin Kulubong reports why.
Police Staff Master Sergeant Ricky Gonzalez of Paite Police in Laguna began planting corn 13 years ago. He shares that during his younger years, he helped his parents in their farm. And even now that he is a police official, he still has a green thumb. With a bountiful harvest, the CAP shares his bounty harvest to a relocation site in Barangay Dayap, Calauan, Laguna, some kilometers away from his office.
Siya po ay pulis na pero nakuha po niya pang magtanim ng mais. Yan po ay pinamimigay lang niya dito sa mga relocate dito sa NHA. Taon-taon po yung kada po mag-aani siya ng mais.
Police Staff Master Sergeant Gonzalez harvested tons and tons of corn from a more than 12 hectare of cornfield. The Paite Municipal Station Deputy Chief says he didn't want to let this opportunity to do good to just pass.
Konting ano lang naman yon, kumbaga share the blessing. Pagka ganyang may mga tanim tayo, binibigyan naman natin yung mga relocates dyan. Tinatawag ko, tapos naghahati-hati sila doon sa mga sa mga konting biyayang iniano sa atin. Sinishare ko lang yung yung mga tanim natin dito.
Sherwin Kulubong, UNTV News and Rescue, Laguna.
Welcome back to Wine News. We pick up to where Angela Lagunzad left off. I'm Alex Baltazar, and here are the headlines. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara says he leaves it up to the Office of the Ombudsman to investigate the allegations of corruption being hurled against Public Attorney's Office Chief Persida Rueda Acosta and PAO Forensics Chief Erwin Erfe. Senators criticized the Sugar Regulatory Administration and the Land Bank of the Philippines for slow delivery of assistance to farmers. Malacanang reminds tourists to follow rules implemented in the Philippines after the incident in Boracay, where a foreign tourist allowed her son to poop in the shoreline, then buried the diaper in the sand. Australia backs the expansion of the ARROCEROS Forest Park, the last lung of Manila City. And find out, where should transgenders go when nature calls? Good evening. It's up to the Office of the Ombudsman to decide on the complaints filed against Public Attorney's Office Chief Persida Acosta, says the Justice Department, while Malacanang assures until there are no final results on the probe against the official, she still enjoys the President's trust. Mai Bermudez will tell us why.
A group of lawyers from the Public Attorney's Office accuses PAO Chief Persida Rueda Acosta and forensics expert Erwin Erfe of using the issue of Dengvaxia to be able to get a surplus of supply as well as excess funds. Such accusations are the basis of their complaint filed before the Office of the Ombudsman. This has stemmed from a complaint filed by a certain Wilfredo Garrido asking for the suspension of the two officials. But Acosta denied this in a text message, saying the move was just a form of demolition job. She adds that the names of the PAO lawyers are fictitious and the documents were not signed. A report from the Commission on Audit for calendar year 2018 indicates there were additional stocks purchased by the Public Attorney's Office, resulting in overstocking, in particular or unused office supplies that brought the budget to 13 million pesos.
But based on what I know, parang Chief Acosta mentioned to me that the creation of that office was with the approval of the DDM. But that's all that I can say. No?
DOJ Secretary Menardo Guevara says they are leaving the issue to the Ombudsman.
Request ng mga some anonymous PAO lawyers for, I think, the suspension in the meantime of the POW chief. We'll leave that to the Office of the Ombudsman. Bahala na si Ombudsman Martinez on that.
Meanwhile, Justice Secretary adds he is open to a lifestyle check on cabinet members.
That's very good. I welcome that as a matter of fact, especially for me. Until now, sa Bulacan pa ako uuwi. And that's okay. I guess that's a very healthy exercise, and that will dispel any doubts about the integrity of cabinet members.
Malacanang lets the POW chief decide on whether to take a leave or not after such complaints. Until there is no final result yet on any investigations, Acosta still enjoys the trust and confidence of President Rodrigo Duterte.
Palagi naman si Presidente hanggang walang findings of probable cause. Palaging nandun yung trust. Pero pag may probable cause na, iba na usapan yun. Then there will be suspension. Kaling sa ombudsman. Hindi naman teritoryo ni Presidente.
Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Will Dengvaxia be allowed again in the Philippine market? Its maker believes so. Here's Aiko Miguel to tell us why.
French pharmaceutical firm Sanofi Pasteur is optimistic the Health Department and the Food and Drug Administration will allow the distribution of the Dengvaxia vaccine in the Philippine market anew. Sanofi Pasteur Philippines General Manager Jean-Anton Zinsu is confident the vaccine has been proved safe and effective. Zinsu says the product was banned in the country only because it was not registered because of lack of documents and not because of safety and efficacy issues. Sanofi is also open to discuss with the FDA their evaluation of the documents to prove that the certificate of product registration of Dengvaxia should not be revoked. Once the documents are complete, there's a huge chance Dengvaxia will again be on the market. Sanofi emphasizes that Dengvaxia is registered in 20 countries. The US FDA and the World Health Organization conclude that Dengvaxia has a public health value, so it was given market authorization. Sanofi also agrees with the DOH that Dengvaxia is not the solution to the current dengue epidemic in the country. Sanofi adds it is not an authorized body to decide on whether it should be used for mass immunization. The Philippine authority must decide on the matter. The DOH has earlier said they will release their decision on the matter on August 19. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Caloocan City.
Senators criticized the Sugar Regulatory Administration and Land Bank of the Philippines over their slow delivery of assistance to farmers. They also fear that if the issue is not resolved, millions of Filipinos may be affected. Nel Maribuhok explains why.
The chairperson of the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Food, Senator Cynthia Villar, is dismayed after finding out the slow implementation of assistance to sugarcane farmers under the Sugarcane Industry Development Act. In 2016, the budget under the program was 2 billion pesos, but it declined to 500 million pesos this year. The budget cuts are caused by the underspending of the agency annually.
Why you cannot spend 1 billion every year for infra ng sugar industry when nagmamakaawa na yung sugar industry na kailangan nila. Sana binigay nyo na lang sa Senado at kami na lang ang nag-identify.
But the SRA chief is on defense on the issue.
We have identified farm-to-mill roads all the way to 2022.
Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri meanwhile criticizes the land bank due to apparent failure to deliver assistance to small farmers through their loans.
Natatakot sila pumasok sa land bank dahil una nakatsinelas, tapos butas-butas yung pantalon. Pag nakita ng manager yan, unang-una hindi na nila masyadong papansinin.
The newly appointed Agriculture Secretary, for his part, assures he will review the implementing rules and regulations of the said law. He also wants to strengthen farmers' cooperatives to resolve the issue.
Cooperatives, Farmers Association, ito yung palakasin mo na hindi lang production ang aasikasuhin nila, bagkus yung value-adding processing at saka market.
Senators fear that if the issue is not resolved, around 5 million Filipinos may be affected if the sugarcane industry collapses. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
President Rodrigo Duterte is busy with paperwork and private engagements, so he has been out of the public eye for the past few days, says Malacanang. His last public event was on Friday during the 118th Police Service anniversary. The palace says the president is also preparing for his upcoming visit to China.
Marami siyang private meetings, maraming courtesy calls. Saka sabi niya sa akin kagabi, ang dami niyang tambak na, kasi, ang problema kasi sa aming mga lawyers, bago kami pumirma, binabasa namin. Matyaga kami nagbabasa ng dokumento bago may lagay yung pirma mo. Yan ang sinabi niya sa akin. So, it takes time reading before I sign it. Yun ang nakakatagal sa kanya.
The small-town lottery operations remain suspended until now. Active police personnel found to be involved in the illegal numbers game will face sanctions. Harleen Delgado explains why.
President Rodrigo Duterte might reconsider lifting the suspension of small-town lottery or STL operations if proved they are free of corruption. This was what he said in a speech last week. The PCSO has yet to finish reviewing the implementing rules and regulations or IRR of the gaming scheme. The agency says they will immediately forward the IRR to the president once they have finished the review. But as to when that is, the PCSO cannot tell for now. PCSO General Manager Roina Garma has earlier said their utmost priority is to prove to the Chief Executive that the STL operations are clean and free from anomalies. She also admitted there might be loopholes in the remittance of STL operators. In the 2018 annual audit report of the Commission on Audit, it was found out that 57 STL agents and 45 authorized agent corporations or AACs fell short with their remittance in 2017 and 2018, resulting in over 6 billion peso missing revenues. Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police report no resurgence of illegal numbers game is being monitored at the moment. According to PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Bernard Banak, there are a few in some parts of Metro Manila and nearby provinces who are trying to start the number games illegally, but these are considered isolated incidents.
Ito yung mga matigas lang ang ulo na ayaw tumigil, subalit na aresto nga sila. Hanggat wala pang kautusan ng muling pagbabalik ng STL, ay mananatili po itong sarado at wala po dapat na pumalit na anumang mga numbers game dyan sa ating mga barangay.
Heads of police stations who will fail to monitor such illegal activities will be sacked. Banak assured that no active police personnel are involved in any illegal gambling or number games. President Duterte also said last week there's no problem with him that retired police generals are allegedly participating in STL operations.
Outside na sila ng jurisdiction ng PNP dahil sila yung mga retirado na, kaya maaari po nilang gawin yun.
Active police personnel who will be found out participating in such activities will face charges of grave misconduct or even dismissal. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine National Police Internal Affairs Service will again conduct an investigation on a police drug operation in Montalban, Rizal, where a 3-year-old girl was killed. Leia Ilagan explains why.
PNP Internal Affairs Service Inspector General Attorney Alfigar Triambolo wants to make sure of who among the policemen involved in a drug bust operation in Montalban, Rizal last June 29 killed the 3-year-old Caitlin Michael Pina during the operation. The pre-charge investigation on policemen involved in a drug bust operation in Montalban, Rizal last June 29 is underway, but Triambolo wants to repeat it.
Kaya pinapaulit ko yung investigasyon, pinapakunan ko lahat, pinapa-ocular inspection ko pa at pinakuha na ng statement.
Based on the autopsy result from the PNP Crime Laboratory, Mika's wound in her nape had an upward trajectory from a 9mm pistol that possibly came from the gun of Police Senior Master Sergeant Conrado Cabigao, who was also killed in the operation. While a downward trajectory was seen in the wound of Micah's right thumb that possibly came from Police Corporal Mark Gerson Olaño's firearm. Triambolo adds he wants to scrutinize who made the mistakes and what were the operational lapses in the drug operation. He is also after the prevention of a repeat incident.
Para ma-recommenda din natin kung anong dapat gagawin na maiwasan po yung collateral damages na yan sa sunod ng operasyon.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The southwest monsoon is continuously affecting parts of Luzon, particularly in the western section. Based on Pag-asa's forecast, Ilocos Region, Cordillera Administrative Region, Bataan and Zambales will experience scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. Meanwhile, isolated rain showers and thunderstorms will prevail over Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Small fishing boats and sea crafts are advised not to venture over northern Luzon, eastern and western seaboards of central Luzon, due to high waves. Meanwhile, in Japan, heavy rains lashed parts of western of the country as Tropical Storm Crossa bore down, forcing the cancellations of hundreds of flights and trains as authorities advised more than 400,000 people to evacuate. Crossa was heading northeast towards the smallest Japanese main island of Shikoku, with sustained winds of 108 kilometers per hour. Authorities warned that the total rainfall in some areas could surpass 39 inches over 24 hours to Friday morning. Where transgenders must go when nature calls has been the recent talk of the town. Find out the answers of some Filipinos as Mon Hokson reports.
Before we answer that question, let's define a transgender, a trans woman and a trans man.
Hi, my name is Joel Tevas Gonzalez and my friends used to call me Carla, Aiko, or Julie, depende sa tawag nila. I am a trans woman because I feel like a woman. I feel like I'm born as a woman and I invested money to become a woman.
Okay, that's a trans woman. Let's ask her which comfort room she uses.
Normally, pag nasa mall ako, pumipila ako sa female. Basta pipila ako, tahimik lang ako, and then I wait for my turn. Kasi nga alam ko, pansinin ako. At the same time, baka may hindi pumayag na nandun ako. Pero okay naman siya so far. Pero ang mas priority ko, kung meron lang, yung mga CR na para sa lahat. Na-experience ko, pero sa province, parang sabi, there's something wrong. There's something that is not right. Na tingin ko, pinaparinggan ako, pero deadma, tapos na ako.
But let's ask some, where should transgender go when nature calls?
Okay lang naman po kung wala naman pong masama gagawing masama. Okay lang po yun.
Ayun lang sir, mahirap po kasing malaman yan kung halimbawang mukha talagang babae yung yung ganon. Hindi po.
Dapat saan?
Sa CR pa din po ng lalaki.
Okay lang po kasi kung mas komportable po siya na doon mag-CR sa CR ng naming mga babae, mas okay po kasi baka feeling niya mas mababastos siya sa CR ng lalaki kaya doon po siya nag-CR.
Siyempre pagka isang bakla dapat sa lalaking CR din. Siyempre ang kanilang panlalaki din eh. So,
mahaba buhok, naka-gown.
O alabang guard kaya doon na pwedeng mag-interview. So, para yung respeto.
For me po, mas okay po sa akin sa pambabae na rin po sila. Kasi po, di naman po kasi nakakaya sa babae rin. Kasi po, di na rin po naman sila, sanay na rin naman po sila sa ugali ng babae. At saka yung, nandidiri naman po sila sa babae po. Tsaka sa lalaki po, pag sa CR po sila ng lalaki nag-CR, bali, pwede po sila mabastos dun ng ibang lalaki. Kaya mas okay po sa babae na.
For Attorney Claire Padilla of End Gender Rights, it's important there are comfort rooms for all genders. Attorney Claire is the one who pushed for the gender fair ordinance in Quezon City.
Karapatan ng isang tao ang gumamit ng toilet, di ba? Ngayon kung trans man naman ito, gusto niya gumamit sa men, pwede rin naman, di ba? Ngayon, dapat din sumunod talaga ang mga kumpanya, ang mga government offices sa Quezon City at kahit sana wala pang ordinansa sa ibang mga lugar sa Pilipinas, dapat sana magkaroon na ng mga all-gender toilet at i-allow din gumamit ng comfort room of their choice.
Respect and courtesy for their rights is what the LGBT community asks for. Even if it's you, it's hard to hang up when nature calls. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
Welcome back to Y News. Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno and Australian Ambassador Stephen Robinson toured around the ARROCEROS Forest Park today. Meanwhile, another city landmark will be the venue for the Manila City government's medical mission soon. April Sinadoza explains why.
11 ambassadors from various countries have visited Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno since he took office. Australian Ambassador Stephen Robinson paid a courtesy call to the mayor this morning. Robinson is the 11th foreign diplomat to visit the Manila City Hall since July 1st. The Austrian envoy even requested to visit the ARROCEROS Forest Park. He also expressed interest to help Mayor Moreno in further improving the park. Mayor Isko also told Robinson how the Manila City LGU will expand the so-called last long of the city.
This is just another park of the city. As you can see, malinis ngayon, patrim, maliwalas. Then we're gonna put some Filipino-style aesthetic value in the area.
We're interested in where we can potentially help the mayor in terms of his endeavour here, because we think this is a wonderful opportunity for the people if this can be expanded and improved.
Personnel from the Department of Education serenaded the two officials with Filipino songs in a simple reception. Meanwhile, the Manila City Local Government Unit plans to hold medical missions at Plaza Rueda located in UN Avenue. April Senedoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines sees the need to revise the Human Security Act. They see it as hindrance in their fight against terrorism. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
The AFP reiterate the need to amend the Human Security Act in the country. AFP spokesperson Brigadier General Edgar Arevalo says the provision on the 500,000 peso fine on security forces personnel if they arrested the wrong person must be revised. They also want the suspect to be detained for 30 days instead of 3 days to extract more information that can help them in their investigation.
We need to be together in this endeavor as we ask Congress for these changes and amendments in our existing law, because we need this. We need this badly for us to be able to deter terrorism and to defeat it in the name of peace, security, and development of our country.
Under the existing law, authorities must tell a suspect they are conducting surveillance against him. If they exceed to 72 hours without filing a case against the suspect, they will pay a fine of 500,000 pesos per day. And these are what hinders them from filing a good case against the suspect despite having enough evidence.
The enemy is neither government nor your armed forces of the Philippines. We are your protectors. We are your defenders.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
The portion of Boracay Island closed yesterday is now reopened after a foreign tourist buried her child's diaper in the sand. But Malacanang says it is not good for anybody to mess up the island, be it a Filipino or a tourist. Vincent Arboleda details why.
The Environmental Management Bureau now has the results of the water quality test on a portion of Boracay Island. Wednesday's results show the coliform level of the water in the area is at a safe level, with the standard coliform level not exceeding 100 most probable number or MPN per 100 ml of water. The test showed less than 1 MPN per 100 ml. This prompted DNR Secretary Roy Simato to lift the cordon and swimming ban imposed yesterday at the 100-meter area where the defecating incident occurred. Malacanang, meanwhile, condemns the incident. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the Chinese national on the viral video should be held accountable. Panelo also reminds tourists in the country to follow rules and regulations. The Boracay Island management is responsible in providing public toilets for the tourists. Panelo added.
It's a violation. We will not, syempre we are not happy about that. Hindi naman maganda rin yun. Kasi we're supposed to be cleaning it up. Pagkatapos, some people are messing it up. Kahit na Pilipino yun, whether Filipino yun o tourist, it's offensive to the site. It's not a good scene.
Based on the existing municipal ordinance of Malay Aklan, whoever is seen littering, peeing or defecating in public places such as the beach will be fined with only 2,500 pesos. For the Boracay Management Group, the ordinance must be reviewed.
Penalty system para talaga ma-prevent, ma-deter yung mga di ba, violators from doing various violations.
Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue.
And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, good evening.
Good evening, Alex. U.S. President Donald Trump has called on Beijing to treat Hong Kong humanely as footage of Chinese paramilitary movements along China's border with Hong Kong emerged, and official Communist Party media warned anti-China forces would be stopped. Ferdy Petalio will tell us why.
Chinese state broadcaster aired footage on Wednesday of a mass anti-riot police drill held earlier this month in Shenzhen, which borders Hong Kong. The airing of the footage comes as Chinese state media continues a recent wave of anti-Hong Kong protest editorials, calling some of them violent, illegal, and approaching terrorism. It also follows the release of a separate video earlier this week showing armored vehicles and trucks from the People's Armed Police, which is said were assembling in Shenzhen in an apparent warning sign to protesters. The Shenzhen Public Security Bureau drill, which took place on August 6th, involved 12,000 police officers, 50 armored vehicles, 200 assault vehicles, 1,200 motorbikes, 5 helicopters, 8 boats, and 2 amphibious vehicles. Official state news agency Xinhua said. The drills covered 3 subjects: anti-terrorist measures, joint sea and air patrols, and riot prevention, Xinhua said. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has suggested a personal meeting with China's President Xi Jinping to discuss the political crisis engulfing Hong Kong. In a tweet, Mr. Trump said he had zero doubt that Mr. Xi could humanely solve the Hong Kong problem. He also tied the protest to a U.S. trade deal with Beijing in the face of ongoing trade tensions. Trump's comments come after weeks of tumultuous pro-democracy protests sparked by opposition to an extradition bill in Hong Kong. On Wednesday evening, police armed with riot shields fired tear gas to disperse hundreds of demonstrators gathered in Sam Shui Po neighborhood, who had been shining laser pointers at a police station. 10 weeks of increasingly violent confrontations between police and protesters have plunged Hong Kong into its worst crisis since it reverted from British to Chinese rule in 1997. The protests represent one of the biggest populist challenges for Chinese President Xi Jinping since he came to power in 2012 and showed no immediate signs of abating. Ferdy Petalio, UNTV News and Rescue, Hong Kong.
One of the jailed leaders of Hong Kong's 2014 Occupy movement, Benny Tai, was released on bail on Thursday, where he told the media he was touched by the protest movements in recent weeks. Tai, one of the 9 leaders jailed for public nuisance offenses relating to the Occupy protests, highlighted the challenges ahead. More protests are planned on Friday and over the weekend in different areas of the Chinese-controlled territory.
With so many Hong Kong people who love Hong Kong so much, even though the road ahead is very unclear and will be very difficult, very tough, but I still have confidence that the future of Hong Kong must be bright. The golden era of Hong Kong is yet to come, and I believe that the time is not too far away.
Russia hails miracle after plane makes emergency landing near Moscow. A Russian passenger jet has crash-landed in a cornfield after a flock of birds got sucked into both engines, causing them to fail. The Euro Airlines A321 plane was taking off from Moscow's Skukovsky Airport on Thursday morning when it hit the birds, causing one engine to burst into flames and the other to shut down. At least 23 of the 226 passengers and 7 crew on board the plane were injured in the crash, including a pregnant woman and 9 children. All the injured were described as being in a satisfactory condition. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said he took responsibility for the findings of an ethics report that found he improperly acted to influence a corporate legal case, but he refused to apologize and said he acted to defend Canadian jobs. Jenny Rico reports why.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau violated federal conflict of interest rules in the handling of a corruption inquiry, the federal ethics star has found. Independent Ethics Commissioner Mario Dion said Trudeau improperly tried to influence a former minister in the SNC Lavalin affair, which is a violation of the Section 9 of Conflict of Interest Act, which prohibits public office holders from using their position to improperly further another person's private interests. The Prime Minister says he accepts the Commissioner's report but disagrees with some of its conclusions.
I take full responsibility. The buck stops with the Prime Minister, and I assume responsibility for everything that happened in my office. Taking responsibility means recognizing that what we did over the past year wasn't good enough. But at the same time, I can't apologize for standing up for Canadian jobs, because that's part of what Canadians expect me to do. They expect me also to stand up for our institutions, and as the Ethics Commissioner pointed out, those two elements came into conflict in an unfortunate way, for which I take full responsibility.
The findings could be an issue for Trudeau in advance of October's general election. Earlier this year, former Justice Minister and Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould accused Trudeau and his staff of spending months trying to convince her that taking SNC Lavalin to trial would cost Canadian jobs and their party votes. Her accusation proved to be politically costly for Trudeau, leading to the resignation of 2 high-profile cabinet ministers, his top personal aide, and the head of the federal bureaucracy, and cast a shadow over his leadership. Wilson-Raybould said the commissioner's report was a vindication of her position that she was improperly pressured by Trudeau and his staff. Jen Rico, UNTV News and Rescue, Toronto, Canada.
In Mexico, Mexico's government on Wednesday doubled down on its assertion that the August 3rd mass shooting in El Paso, Texas was an act of terrorism against Mexicans and urged the United States to ensure the incident was designated as such. Mexican Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard told a regular government news conference that steps needed to be taken to prevent future killings. And according to an El Paso police affidavit released on Friday, the suspected shooter Patrick Crucius told police while surrendering that he had been targeting Mexicans. The Mexican government has said it may also request the suspected perpetrator be extradited to Mexico for trial. 22 people lost their lives in the shooting at a Walmart store in the U.S. border city. And in New Zealand, lawyers for the man accused of shootings at 2 mosques in New Zealand have asked for the trial to be moved from Christchurch, while several letters written by the gunman himself expressing his political and social views have circulated online. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said that ultimately no one wants this alleged offender to be able to spread his message of hate in the way that he's been able to, and that they will be working to make sure that this will not happen again. According to local media, one of Australian suspect Brenton Tarrant's letters that circulated online is addressed to an entity named Alan in Russia, where Tarrant had previously traveled in 2015. A hearing on the request to move the trial to Auckland, New Zealand's largest city, will be held on October 3rd, and the defendant would be held in custody until then, High Court Justice Cameron Mander said at a hearing. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue. And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Kat Dumaraos from Bangkok, Thailand. Liverpool stars lift the Super Cup trophy in Istanbul, Turkey. Meanwhile, the World Cup stars met with children amputee ahead of the Liverpool-Chelsea final match. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
Winning is a habit, and Liverpool have their second European trophy in a few short months. This victory meant it is 4 Super Cups and 13 European trophies, and a record 43 overall for Liverpool, amid the sense that there is an unrelenting gathering, trophy-hunting momentum around them, and Jurgen Klopp, who made the crucial save in the penalty shootout. The match ended at 2-2 in favor of Liverpool with 5-2 penalties. Prior to the match, the World Cup superstars on Tuesday met with children amputee who performed a Bob Marley song along with members of the Turkish radio and television's polyphonic children's choir. France Stephanie Frappart made history as the first female referee to take charge of a major European men's showpiece occasion when she officiated at Wednesday's Super Cup match in Istanbul. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue.
A mystery in a centuries-old village in southwest Poland has people asking, where are all the boys? Local authorities have also offered a prize to the first couple who produces a son. Nina Armilio explains why.
A trainee volunteer fire brigade in Myszodransky village is made up of only girls. This is not uncommon in the southern Polish village, which is experiencing a demographic mystery. No boys have been born there in almost a decade. With women greatly outnumbering men, the village's females are being trained at young ages to do what are traditionally perceived as male roles in Poland.
There are no boys, so the women need to do the job.
Maya Golash is the youngest member of the firefighting team at just 2.5 years old. Maya's father and grandfather were both firefighters, explained the young girl's mother, who said that the child would also go on to fight fires for a living. The children perform a number of activities as part of their training, including firefighting drills, CPR, and first aid. Often, the girls use teddy bears to practice first aid on.
I am very proud of the women who are in my fire department. They are really determined people who put a lot of heart into what they do, and it bears fruits. The fact that we can be on alert, we help our residents, and these are, of course, the most important things.
The village has less than 300 residents, and no boys have been born there since 2010, according to the county mayor. He is now offering a prize for the couple who will next have a boy.
I thought it would be a very nice surprise when I offered to the parents of the first boy who will be born here after 9 years, and that will incentivize parents in this village.
The girls, however, aren't letting the lack of men stand in their way of achieving their goals.
One of my dreams is, of course, having a husband. But their main dream is to get a new fire engine because this one is 44 years old. We care for it as much as we can, but we are afraid that one day we will be called to action and the car will simply prevent us from doing it.
Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this August 15, 2019. On behalf of Angela Lagunzad, I am Alex Baltazar. And before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites because we need to know. We will always ask why. Good evening.
Violation ng conclusion kung dumaraan sa ating EEC. I'm sure the DFA Secretary will do something about that.
Yung request ng mga some anonymous power lawyers for, I think, the suspension in the meantime of the power chief, we'll leave that to the office of the ombudsman. Bahala na si Ombudsman Martinez on that.
Why you cannot spend 1 billion every year for infra ng sugar industry when nagmamakaawa na yung sugar industry na kailangan nila. Sana binigay nyo na lang sa Senado at kami na lang ang nag-identify.
It's a violation. We will not, syempre we are not happy about that. Kasi we're supposed to be cleaning it up. Pagkatapos, some people are messing it up. Di ba? Hindi maganda. Kahit na Pilipino yun, whether Filipino yun o tourist, it's offensive to the sight. It's not a good scene.
Karapatan ng isang tao ang gumamit ng toilet, di ba? Ngayon, kung trans man naman ito, gusto niya gumamit sa men, pwede rin naman. Dapat din sumunod talaga ang mga kumpanya, ang mga government offices sa Quezon City. At kahit sana wala pang ordinansa sa ibang mga lugar sa Pilipinas, dapat sana magkaroon na ng mga all-gender toilet at i-allow din gumamit ng comfort room of their choice.